I was cleaning out my grandmother's house after she passed away when I found this old trunk in the attic. It was covered with cobwebs and had an old-looking lock on it. I remember my grandmother telling me that there were some things inside that I wasn't allowed to see. I never asked what those things were, but after she died, I became curious. The trunk was very heavy, but I managed to drag it down the stairs and into my room. I sat on the floor next to the trunk and started trying to open the lock, but it was no use. So I took it apart and managed to open it up. Inside, I found stacks of old letters and diaries tied together with a black ribbon. I looked through some of the letters, and they were love letters from a man named Peter to a woman named Natasha. The handwriting was beautiful, but the stories that unfolded were heartbreaking. Peter wrote about how he met Natasha at a party and how he fell in love with her fiery spirit and beautiful brown eyes. But their love didn't last forever. One day, Peter came home to find Natasha lying dead on the floor, having taken her own life. He was devastated, but he couldn't understand why she would do such a thing. Natasha had been the most vibrant and lively person he'd ever met. She had so much potential, so much life to live. Why would she throw it all away? In his letters, Peter poured out his grief, his anger, his confusion. He wrote about how he felt like a part of him had died along with Natasha, and he wasn't sure if he could ever move on. But Peter wasn't the only one who was struggling. In Natasha's diary, I found entries from the months leading up to her death, and they told a different story. A story of a woman who was deeply unhappy in her marriage. Natasha had been married to a wealthy landowner named Dmitri, and the relationship had quickly turned sour. Dmitri was controlling and possessive, and he isolated Natasha from her friends and family. He didn't want her to work or have any interests outside of the house. All he wanted her to do was be a trophy wife, a pretty face to adorn his arm at parties. But Natasha wasn't that kind of girl. She wanted more than just parties and social events. She wanted a partner, someone to share her hopes and dreams with. But Dmitri wasn't interested in any of that. All he cared about was his own pleasure. As time went on, Natasha's despair grew. She wrote about feeling trapped and hopeless, and she begged her diary to help her escape. Then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. The last entry was dated the day before her death. I couldn't believe what I was reading. This was a real-life story. These people had actually lived and breathed, and the thought that they might still be here, watching me, made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I could feel their pain, their anguish, their despair, and I knew that if I didn't do something, their suffering would continue. I continued searching through the trunk and found a hidden compartment with a small key inside. It was the key to an old jewelry box. I found the box under some old clothes and opened it up. Inside, I found a beautiful necklace. It was made of silver and gold and adorned with a large sapphire. The sapphire was the color of Natasha's eyes, the same eyes that had captivated Peter's heart all those years ago. I could feel the weight of history. As I held the necklace in my hands, I could feel the love, the loss, the despair, and then I saw it etched into the metal. I could just make out the name Natasha. I knew what I had to do. I went back to the attic and found an old, dusty mirror. I brought it downstairs and hung it on the wall in my room. Every morning when I wake up, I put on Natasha's necklace and stared directly into the mirror. At first, nothing happens. But as the days go by, I can feel a presence behind me. I can feel someone watching me, waiting for me. Then, just when I'm about to lose hope, I see her. Standing behind me is a woman with long flowing hair and deep brown eyes. She's wearing a beautiful white dress and she looks like she just stepped out of a painting. For a moment, we just stand there and look at each other. I can feel her sadness, her anger, her despair, and I know that she's waiting for me to do something. Then, she disappears. I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like I have to help her. So I go to the attic again and bring down the trunk. I open it up and take out the stack of letters and diaries. I read through them again, trying to piece together what happened to her. The more I learn about her, the more I realize that she wasn't just a ghost. She was a real person who had loved and lost and suffered. And I know that I have to help her find peace. I go back to the mirror and put on the necklace. When she appears, Primerata, El Ketur, tell her about how she's not alone, that someone cares about her. And for a moment, I see a flicker of hope in her eyes. Then, she disappears. I do this every day. And every day she gets a little less transparent, a little less sad. I know that I'm helping her. And it gives me hope that one day, she'll finally be able to move on. One day though, something strange happens. As I'm staring into the mirror waiting for Natasha to appear, I see a different face behind me. It's a man's face, handsome but sad. His eyes are filled with pain and longing, and I know that he's here for the same reason I am. I turn around and introduce myself. His name is Peter, and he tells me that he's been watching me, trying to figure out what I'm doing. I explain about Natasha and show him the diary and the letters, and he's overjoyed. He thanks me for taking care of her and tells me that he'll never forget what I've done. Every day after that, Peter joins me by the mirror. He and Natasha talk to each other, and I can see the love and longing in their eyes. They tell me that they're ready to move on, that they're ready to let go. And I know that it's time. When the sun sets, I take off the necklace and place it in the jewelry box. Then I go to the mirror and tell them goodbye. Peter and Natasha smile at me, and I know that they'll always cherish what we've shared. Then they disappear. The house is silent now. No longer do I hear the whispers of love and longing, but sometimes when the sun hits the mirror just right, I can still see a glimpse of them. Peter and Natasha, forever young, forever in love.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please share, please like, and help us grow this channel. Also, tell us where you are watching from. Thank you.